Hey guys, Stealth here. Welcome to Wonsen Harbor. Yes, finally a map name that I can actually remember, unlike the other maps that I usually get utterly confused about. Anyway, Wonsen Harbor, Conquest, 2v2, correction 4v4, actually a 1v1 map, but let's face it, it's a bit large for that, especially if you have a lot of units to manage. And it is the naval variant, so you can bring in naval units along the Alpha and the Foxtrot zones. Now we're going to be following Samurai Devil, Martijntje, Sniperfire and Mirik, all of the guys who you might be familiar with from earlier videos. Now Samurai sent this replay in and he said that he was on TeamSpeak with all the other guys on his team. That always helps. It says 2 players will push up on the home front, so let's say Charlie, and 2 others will do a naval landing and secure a second frontline defense zone. He's going to be in the main assault on the home front and Sniperfire is going to be guarding. That means that Martijntje and Mirik are going to be doing the naval landings. And you can already see he is going to be moving towards Fox. And Mirik has either going to be placing his CV down there, or he's going to have a skeleton crew defending that area. The main attack from Samurai himself is going to go right down the middle. You can see he's fielding a lot of infantry. He's using a Blue Dragon's general deck. And he said that his deck is designed to sustain heavy frontal assaults on towns and other hard points or hard to access points with the support of armored units, should the need arise. So this seems to be an infantry heavy deck, and he's going to need that, because red 4 infantry is usually very potent, especially in towns. All of those flamethrowers, all of those grenade launchers that they carry, it seems to me that they have more firepower than most blue 4 infantry units do. But then again, it all depends on the user. Can you actually use all of that firepower? Can you make the best possible deployment of those units and have them work to their best efficiency? If not, then all of that firepower will still go to waste. Now you can see he's starting out with a lot of infantry, and especially the transports themselves are pretty important here. Kiyoroku WAPC has a grenade launcher that can really help out. He's starting out with a KM-132 flamer vehicle. He also has a couple of Hachi Kiyushikis, which have autocannons, a couple of Itos to make sure that any tank is going to get a very warm welcome, and a Fiat 6616 is another vehicle that can be quite effective against infantry ops. Because this thing not only has a pretty decent grenade launcher, let me just select this one. It also has an autocannon, so the grenade launcher and the autocannon can work very closely together to deliver a lot of damage. A couple of helos are going in, although I'm not too sure what he intends to do with those helos, other than possibly take a flank early. Sniperfire is going to move to Delta, and it looks like we already got a first aircraft from Glebs going up, trying to see any kind of air attack, but I think that Glebs invested a bit too much in his air force. The Seed aircraft is getting shot down, made it out alive, and now the MiG is going to shoot down the F-16, so there it is. We got an early artillery strike coming in. That means that, especially combined with all of the air force and the artillery, that the enemy will not have too much in the sense of ground forces. And the forces that they do have rushed up a lot. You can see we're seeing loads and loads of Commandosis, Panzerjäger, a couple of Strelas, and Samurai's forces are just getting butchered as they arrive in the town. All of this firepower has to be orchestrated, and that is something that is usually quite difficult to do in these small urban corridors, where a vehicle might be able to get a root shot on infantry, or at least you'd think it would be. And then it turns out that the vehicle is just behind a building and you can no longer see it. Now he seems to be doing quite alright. He's pushing Commandosi back, but at the expense of heavy losses. He's opening up a small secondary front here, running right into a bunch of Granatomets, which his infantry are not going to be doing too well against, but the Hachi Kiyushiki should be. Sniperfire on the right is getting a similarly warm welcome. Mad Max is fielding Wargame and LSTRs. Over on the right, Sniper is pushing all of his infantry through, but I think the more interesting area is going on right here. Mirik and Martijntje are opening a second front. Now, if you see or don't see 2 players on the front line, then you should start wondering, where the hell are they? And this is the answer. They are right there. Now, it looks like he was able to kill off the helicopter and the command infantry was too close. There it is. And they died due to the same impact. So Foxtrot is no longer secure. And this is when they can start rushing ships in. Which is exactly what Mirik is doing. STRB-90H at full speed, which is 32 knots for them. Rushing up the river. Trying to use the grenade launcher, trying to use the Brownings, Hellfires here and there. And this will completely cut off the resupply route from Foxtrot. Meaning that the resupply is going to have to come all the way down this, well, let's say, main road. From Golf to Echo and then all the way into Charlie. And not having this Foxtrot zone is also going to cost them some points. They are losing some points to Bluefor. Bluefor's had a low +1. And you can see that Bluefor has seemingly less infantry on the front line. I think that is trying to be desperately reinforced. But they don't have any large concentration of forces anywhere. Bluefor seems pretty spread out at this stage, and especially against these large number of Commandosis, it's going to be hard to actually kill all of those. Commander Marines might be able to make a dent, and I think that at this point Samurai was asking in TS if he could get some help, because the amount of forces that he's up against, especially considering that these guys are just as elite as the Royal Marines, and that they are in far larger numbers, Royal Marines are not going to stay alive for much longer. Now, it looks like they're about to get a... Yep, there's the +2. So they're doing quite nice as far as points go, but can they hold on to this? Because the terrain is about to be lost. Another major artillery strike coming in. Not really doing anything too useful in the sense of damage, just panicking and stunning these guys. Another group of Kutai 90 moving up, killing a transport there. And I'm wondering if Royal Arms is able to get a lot of forces across. Because his resupply line in Fox just got completely cut off. And I'm actually waiting for Blue to take control of Fox. It looks like they are doing that. No, they're not doing that yet. The Lafayette is probably going to be close here to provide AA support. Although the Lafayette, well, against airplanes, 3.5 kilometer range, very accurate missiles, I gotta give him that. But other than that, it runs out of missiles very quickly. And it's quite a large investment to put 200 points here at the edge of the port. Because while it can provide AA fire and moderate gunfire, the gun cannot reach that far inland. Looks like the Lafayette's about to shine off. There we go. And that's a kill. Well played, but he wasted 4 missiles on that shot, or on that kill. But I suppose that that's pretty much already halfway through his points, as far as the price for Lafayette goes. Some Underbrook popping in, trying to get some shots in on the Bluefor. It looks like Martijn's Dutch forces did not bring any kind of AA weaponry, or it is still being brought in. There's the command infantry. If they can get the command infantry here, that would mean a very significant second front here. But the primary front, all the way over here in Charlie, is not doing that well. Hebyung 90 still squaring off against whatever's left of those Commandosis. These guys must have racked up an impressive amount of kills. And also coming under the attack of what I believe to be Panzerjäger. Yep. RPG 7Vs, which the Panzerjäger can actually fire at the Hebyungs. They are doing so to pretty decent success. And of course another artillery strike comes in. This thing actually detonates that this is HE artillery. And Blue has completely lost charge of Charlie. There is no further unit in here. Martijntje actually this time around, pushing some more STB-90H through the river. If you can get this bridge under your control, you can pretty much completely secure Echo. Simply because the enemy can no longer field any kind of infantry. The problem is staying there. Because while they only have one ship, well, the ship seems to be slightly out of range and punishing some FGBs, it is very low on hit points. Lafayette got another kill. Unfortunately, these birds don't seem to be getting too close, and this is why I personally prefer the Bake Nu. You can also put the Bake Nu, I believe, pretty much here. I believe they are classed as riverines, or at least coasters, so that they can get closer. And their missiles just have better range. They have a range of 4.5 clicks, I believe, but the Lafayette, in its current position, can cut off any kind of reinforcements coming down this road, provided they can see it, and that seems to be an issue. While they do have quite a lot of infantry here, they don't have any optics coming down this road. Now, snipers being pushed back into the woods. Quite a lot of forces here engaging LSTRs and the Wachtregiment again. Looks like his guys are not doing very well. Let's see what Samurai is up to. Bringing in some more infantry. Bringing a Pip 3. Actually a Pip 1. I'm not sure why it still says XXX. I think that this is the adult version of the Hawk. I don't know. I believe that this is something that they changed in the patch and forgot to change back. Not sure why, but for now let's just call it the adult version of the Hawk. Let's see if it can actually jam its rods up to any openings in aircraft, if that's graphic enough for you. Now, a little bit of a foothold still left in Charlie, but no more control of the zone. And while Blue seems to be doing quite nice on Foxtrot, they're actually losing on points. Red has managed to capture Charlie, Echo and Delta, and of course Golf, their main zone, and is getting a +1 feed. They are slowly but steadily going to rack up points. That is, until Blue can dash out into Golf and try to get the CV down there. If you kill that one, and it looks like, look at that, sniper fire going for the sneaky approach here. Sniper team coming in, so I suppose that sniper fire is living up to his name. He's coming in with a sniper team, trying to spot the CV, and maybe, just if they get artillery in the field, they will be able to shoot the CV, provided they can see it, of course. But spotting these guys, very, very difficult, as they are exceptionally stealthy. The constant artillery barrages are getting a bit annoying, but no less effective. You can see that there seems to be a bit of friendly fire for Red going on. Mad Max, with his infantry, seems to be taking a bit of fire. The OH-6D is watching the pretty lights, but at the same time also taking a bit of splash damage by the looks of it. This guy is completely getting out of control. But at least he's still alive. A little MD-500. Now, the Canadian Airborne are still there, but only just. And considering the level of transport, or the veterancy of the transport, I'd say that these guys are ferrying across some really high-end infantry. Same for these. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm looking at a motorized deck of some sort. And if that's the case, then Sniper's done. He cannot provide enough firepower to counter the LSTRs, the Wachtregiment, the SPW-80s, or any other kind of infantry that might be lurking around there. So their best hope, really, is to try and go through this area. Try and cut them off at Gulf. Now, considering the weird unit composition I'm seeing here, 4 Malyutka Ps, which, well, let's face it, are pretty bad. And usually you have quite some superior options available. I'd say that they're not actually doing the best that they can. Hortensia bringing in some more forces here. Stoottroepen with the YPR 76525 fire support. Rushing in. He wisely offloaded his infantry before they got into the range of the RPG-26 from the Specialnies. These guys are very, very good at killing enemy transports, especially due to the high rate of fire, but they don't really have the range to engage these guys at the range that they're being engaged at. Now this forest is going to be crawling with infantry and pretty soon outdated tanks. Very, very soon. And it could be another meat grinder. Small as it is, and Red 4 of course has a way shorter air supply. So hopefully the AA that's been fielded here can actually provide some kill shots on the enemy airplanes that are coming over. The Fayette does not have range. Does not have the capability to kill. There's all the artillery. RM70s, these are the cluster, let's say the cluster artillery units. I'm not sure if they know that this unit is here, but I don't think so. Have you fired a shot? No. So they might be just pulling back the helo because it got too heavily damaged. Now, over on Delta, the situation is looking pretty dire. There is nothing left. Just a little bit of transports, which are now getting killed off by by Panzerjägers, not Panzergrenadiers. Panzerjägers. These guys are just cutting through the entire tree line, meaning that unless Blue 4 gets some sort of infantry wall up there, Blue is going to be in risk of losing Bravo. Now, you could say that losing Bravo is not terrible, because you already have Alpha for reinforcements and you have Fox, but it is critical for air. It's the only air resupply route that you get. So unless you have this zone under your control, you're not going to be able to hold. Or sorry, you're not going to be able to bring an aircraft. Now in the meanwhile, Samurai has been pushing up through the middle. Charlie has been neutralized again. Looks like there's still a bit of infantry left here. By the way that they're firing, I would say that those are probably AGS. And they've also been able to clear out Echo, meaning that they're again at a +1. I gotta say, the game is going back and forth quite a lot. A couple of transports rushing across, trying to get the Gepard. Gepard having no such thing. There's a couple of Leopards from Martijntje pushing out, killing off the vehicles as they're coming out. Lafayette, a second Lafayette from Mirik, trying to get the kill, and it looks like he got it. Yep, there goes the MiG-25BM. I really love these aircraft. They are fast, great missiles, great ECM, but 80% ECM, sorry, 80% accuracy on the Krotal CN2 is just deadly. And it's going to be quite difficult indeed for Red to get this Lafayette out of the way. Whereas the Lafayette, with a 4.5 click gun, or actually 4.7, can provide very good fire support at this position. It only carries 240 rounds, but I think that for now, this is one of the best units that they could be asking for. And I gotta say, the French units, they usually are very accurate. 80% accuracy on the Krotal, 40% accuracy on the 68TR, which, to be honest, is quite a lot. It is more than the accuracy of most units, especially ships. I believe that the only ship that gets close to that amount of accuracy is the Congo. Other ships, just no such thing. They're now actually hitting the Wachtregiment. Not a lot that the Wachtregiment can do to that. Look at them go. Not a lot that they can do short of just pulling back their infantry. And trust me, if you have infantry getting fired at with a 6 HE gun at a 40 rounds a minute rate of fire really hurts. Now, it looks like they're wasting some cluster artillery on trying to damage the Lafayette, which, well, they're actually getting some damage in, but you're going to have to fire a lot of these salvos at the Lafayette in order to actually kill it. So far, they've done about 75 points of damage. It looks like that's where it stops, but that doesn't relieve the threat that this thing can pose. LCU coming close to resupply and repair the Leopards. And I gotta say, the Foxtrot position still seems shaky, especially the AA situation. There's not too much that they have there. And armor penetration, or anti-tank vehicles, or anti-tank infantry, again, no such thing. Not a lot. Samurai in the middle, getting better control of Charlie, especially with the help of Mirik over here. And they are getting further and further and pushing Red back. But Red might still be in here. We don't know that. And of course I can switch it to neutral, but I want to keep this thing quite interesting. I think Mirik forgot to offload his Royal Marines there. There we go. Pushing up. It looks like Samurai saw that, and he's recommending that he offloads. Peace Pheasant coming in. Peace Pheasant won't do that much damage, considering it's only carrying small caliber weapons, but it will definitely help stun the enemy. That's exactly what's going on here. Quite a lot of damage going in. And again, Hebjungs squaring off against quite elite infantry here. Unfortunately, the elite infantry is not quite getting the amount of support that it needs, because these Royal Marines are not at the front line. They're at this building, meaning that they cannot even fire at these guys. So the Hebjungs are running for their lives, trying to get the shots in on either the Scots or the Granatomets, pushing them out of this zone so that they can fall back, resupply, rearm, and then re-engage. So for now the front line has to be held by Myrick. Hebjungs again taking heavy machine gun fire, pulling back. Hachi Kiyoshiki engaging, taking quite intense heavy machine gun fire. But so far it seems to be alive. Only just though. Hebjung 90 is again pushing up. The wounded squad has died, leaving the half-health squad to pretty much keep control of the zone as best they can. They're getting into the same structure as the Panzerjäger, which for the Panzerjäger is a very bad situation. They can no longer use the RPG-7, which means that they lost their main weapon. And with that, it's basically a 5-man rifleman squad, which doesn't even get a machine gun. It's just an assault weapon. Napalm comes in, torches the Royal Marines. Let's see if Myrick can get these guys out of trouble before they all burn to a crisp. More Hebjung 90s pushing in. Looks like the Royal Marines are doing okay, but against 40 Picotus Smack, that's going to be a tough one. And looks like Myrick is again going to lose the infantry here. These Hebjungs should be able to move up, so that these guys can get relief and pull back, giving them a bit of, well, I'd say desperately needed resupply. Over on the left, again, an artillery strike going in on multiple ships here. This time around, the Pohang seems to be the target prize here. And, well, I'm not exactly sure, but I don't think it's taking too much damage. Pohang probably here to provide additional fire support, because other than the Otomalara on it, I don't see particular good use for this ship out here. I mean, it's a good ship against other ships and as an escort for your larger ships, but there are no anti-ship missiles coming in, meaning that the Dardo Seawiz is really not that useful. It can only engage airplanes at a range of 700 meters, which, let's face it, they're not that likely to close into. Helos at 2600, and other than that, I don't really see what the point of this is, other than having the Otomalara. 2 more kills for Lafayette, going veteran. And look at that, we got a CV coming in. AS-64T trying to get the kill. Unfortunately, it's getting engaged itself. Now, the Pohang might be able to engage the KA-52. Yep, there goes the Seawiz. And I think that the Lafayette got the kill there. One of the Red 4 team has left the game. I'm not sure if he surrendered or just left, but I think he had some sort of disconnect. Red is pushing more infantry into the town now. Echo and Charlie is still very much contested, but it seems that Blue is quite able to bring in bomber support here, which should mean that they have an easier time than Red. In the meantime, Samurai has been pushing up along the flank here, meaning that if he can get spots on the infantry there, the Hachiki Yoshikis can provide fire support. But right now, they are the target of an attack themselves, which for some reason wasn't continued. I think I saw some sort of AT weapon come in, but it missed. This is what I mean. You can get these guys close, there comes another missile, completely missing the target again. If you can get these weapons on target, you can do quite a bit of sustained damage on them. There we go. Over towards Foxtrot. Fox has been neutralized. That means that the enemy CV has actually made it into position. And this means that Red 4 now has to worry a lot less about this area, because it is no longer capable of bringing in reinforcements. They have found the CV using the Pumas. The Pumas are trying to punish the Wachregiment, but they are similarly getting shot at themselves. One of them going down. And time for the SAS to pick up the slack and get the CV kill. Salamandra here for the spots. Not really doing that much in the role of fire support, because while it does have rocket pods, I don't know, it's just not firing at anything. And Red is now pushing in as much infantry here as possible, while they're currently retreating their CV. Trying to reinforce this position, trying to kick out the Blue 4 players. But so far, Blue is continuing to hold Foxtrot. They have not lost it, and it looks like they're not going to. Gurkha's moving up. Another group of Wachregiment. You'd expect Royal Arms to be about done with these guys, but no such thing. You can field an incredible amount of these. Really. There is, I believe, the capability to have 2 cards. And if you have a motorized deck, you can even have, of course, more infantry in the infantry section. So you can have 2 cards if, I don't know, 12, maybe 14 per card. It's a lot of infantry you can field. Again, continuing to bomb the middle. This time around getting some return fire, and that might have been the FJB doing the damage. Kutai 90 against FJB. I'd say my money is on the Kutai 90 for this time. The thing I'm worried about is that Blue only has 1 AA unit over there. That's a short arrow. They are decent against helos, while their accuracy is a bit low for my taste. And they have quite a nice range against airplanes, but again with the low accuracy, basically you gotta get lucky with this thing. If you get lucky, you are gonna do a decent amount of damage to an aircraft. If not, then it's basically only a long range, really or relatively inaccurate missile platform against airplanes. Against helos. More infantry coming in, because hey, you can never have enough. Mad Max pushing in another triple group of Wachregiment. And over towards the left I'm seeing a whole lot of red. And not a lot of blue. Looks like Sniper is currently also engaging on this flank. And this is interesting because I saw Sniper having a lot of units here as well. So he's going to be distracted. It seems that people are no longer sticking to their own zones. It seems that they're trying to help out wherever they possibly can. You can see that Samurai has forces all over the place. Let's see, Martijntje is focused around Fox. He's really sticking to that area. Sniper split out between 2 zones. Now there is probably a good reason for this, in the sense that I think that Mirik might be using a marine deck. And that means that he cannot field really good tanks, whereas Sniper Fire probably can. Although a Moderna is a bit of a stretch. That's why the Challenger 2 is being brought up. Let's see where Mirik is. Mirik also has forces all over the map. Some over towards the middle, which I think he completely forgot about. But mostly he seems to be trying to fend off continuous assaults from Red over on Fox. And once again, there is no clear leader. Although Blue has more points, they're no longer actually getting points. But the moment that they can push a CV... Oh, actually, they have a CV in. Red also has a CV somewhere in this area. Because let's face it, they don't really have that much of a location to put it. So if Blue can find those guys, then they can kill them and get a point lead. More infantry is being brought in. You can see that they have put up a small wall of infantry here. Embra, Stoottroepen, fire support vehicles, OH-6 here. Everything to keep Red out of this building, out of this tree line, out of this spawn zone. KF-16C, unfortunately did not get the kill. Quite unexpected, really. But they have managed to bomb the Blue 4 command infantry, which is again putting Red on the lead. And provided they can keep up with this for quite a while, they can do a lot of damage, and they can actually get quite close to the 166 that Blue 4 has at the moment. So Mirik is moving up, trying to scout whatever Red has in here as far as the CV goes. Which is probably going to be command infantry. Because I don't really see a command vehicle being that likely. Lots of fire... Oh, although... Yep. There it is. That's the command vehicle, making a break for it. Let's see, yep, there it is. Can they find it? Can they kill it? Looks like Mirek has found it, but is not quite able to get shots in on it because the Gurkhas are too engaged with everything else. Attack marker going up, trying to get the kill on the CV. I saw a missile head in from the Gurkhas, but I don't think they got it. Come on. There it is. And the Haebyungs got it. No lead. Again, Samurai pushing forces in. This is going to be a really interesting kill list afterwards, because this is what I usually call infantry grinding. You just put so much forces towards one position, and especially infantry, and it just keeps bombed. It just keeps getting shot at by arty. It just keeps getting shot at with mortars, by napalm, by aircraft, whatever. You just keep losing forces, they keep losing forces, and at the end of the road, it's basically seeing who's going to be able to get the last amount of infantry in. Who's going to survive the longest. Now, one of the things that I'm not seeing too much, and that is what Blue 4 is getting punished for at the moment, is AA. And Mi-35 is casually hovering pretty close to the village, providing fire support with rocket pods. No such thing with the Yak B, it's not in range yet, but it can also provide missile fire against transports, provided that they can find it. But in a town, trying to hit stuff with an HGM, especially when mounted on a helo, is not that easy. Another Peace Pheasant comes in, hits the LVTP-7s, but fortunately these things have a bit of armor and they can survive. It looks like Red 4 infantry did not quite have the same luck. And once again, Red is being pushed out of Charlie. Over in Fox, there is yet another Moderna being fielded. It eats 3 Hellfires and dies. Or actually, I think a combination of Hellfires and TOW-2 missiles. Challenger 2 is still here. And the Fusiliers 90 should be able to make short work of the T-80 that's lurking about here. But once again, you have another infantry grinder over there. Red's pushing up with the infantry that they still have in this tree line. Considering the level of elitism, these guys have been fighting a lot. Getting a lot of damage in. Let's hope that sniper fire is going to be able to pay enough attention to both flanks to micromanage also these forces to tell them to attack. KF-16C pushes in. Doesn't really have anything to do here other than just threaten enemy airspace. And the FJBs did take a shot, and by doing so gave away their own position. MRAS from sniper fire pushing in, doing a lot of damage, and actually getting the infantry killed off. Over towards the middle, Haebyung 90s against the Wachtregiment. More Picota, a whole lot of transports which provide an immense amount of fire support. And you can see that the infantry is starting to really suffer from the constant barrage of machine gun fire that all of these things are pushing up. And while they are alone not particularly impressive, in significant numbers, these things are quite deadly. So any kind of a tank, let's say a Leopard C2 Maxis, would be really useful. Unfortunately, this thing is almost out of ammo. Other units that would be handy here, I'd say a Warrior. Warrior 90, nice amount of armor. Takes care possibly of the helicopter, definitely of these transports. And provides fire support against anything else that may need it. Unfortunately, there is a large assortment of helicopters currently. K-29s, Mi-35s, 24Ds. And they are all doing a lot of damage to Blue 4, as Blue 4 is definitely making their way through, but paying with it in blood, and lots of it. They're pushing through, but only just, and I think they're going to have to fall back soon. Looks like Samurai has forgotten about these Kutai 90s. And the same thing goes for his mortars. His mortars only fire 10 rounds each. What I usually do when I have mortars, and I'm not saying it's the only right way, I'm saying it works for me, is have these things combined and under one hotkey. For me it's usually 7, so that if I need to fire these things at some location, I can just quickly press 7 and have them fire at any group of infantry. Because especially with this level of infantry, the more you'll be able to hurt them before you actually engage with other infantry, the better. And this is going on more and more. Let's see about the north. Seems that blue has a pretty solid grasp of this area. Over towards the... What? Oh. I gotta say, I'm getting... or I have to give a lot of respect to Martijntje here, who I have seen do a lot of flanking maneuvers with infantry. Last game I was in with him, he did it with LSTRs. Lots of perfect flanking maneuvers, creating a large diversion for the enemy forces. And currently he's able to land a couple of Corps Mariniers, KCTs and even a command unit, so that if they can sneak their way in the Gulf, they can neutralize the Red 4 team pretty much completely. They can shut it down. And let's see if they're actually going to be able to get away with that. Blue, currently at a +1 lead. And unless something really dramatic happens, I don't see them really going to lose that. Now, time for a more robust CV approach here. So we have a Nana Yonshiki. It's somewhere between the armor of a CV in the shape of an APC and a tank. It's pretty much a lightly armored tank, I'd say. 6 frontal armor, 3 side, 1 back and 1 top. Meaning it's still very, very vulnerable to cluster artillery. And while it can provide some fire support, that's of course not really what you want to be using it for. And red might have gotten... Yeah, I think I know exactly where it is. It is taking fire, provided that it would have been command infantry would have already been dead. But this tank is not exactly designed to take mortar fire, or let alone any kind of artillery fire of a larger caliber. So it is taking a lot of damage from this shelling. I'm not sure how long they can keep that up. Infantry desperately being pushed into the middle, as red seems to have been able to push out all of blue's infantry. Sniper fire tried to do a large caliber bombing run with an F-111C. Unfortunately, it refused to drop. I think that he may have forced it to attack a target which then disappeared, causing the F-111C to just fly over harmlessly and not do very much. Over towards the north, Nana Yonshiki CV destroyed, meaning that Charlie has again been neutralized, no more lead. I gotta give these guys on Red 4 credit, they are putting up one hell of a fight. Red 4 again pushing into CV. Merrick has spotted it, they know that the CV is inbound, so at least they know where to look for it. The question is, can they actually get closer? Can they get close enough to this CV in order to kill it? Because a bombing run might not do it. Harrier comes in, possibly hits the command infantry. Saw it disappear. Yeah, there it is, come on. Get closer. Get closer, there it is. It's still calm. Hasn't taken any kind of fire yet, but that's about to change. What are you firing at? Whoa, yeah, that'll do it. No more command infantry there. Let's see if they're bringing in their own CV again. I'm not seeing it yet. No, blue 4 CV coming in. But with 3 minutes on the clock and about a point lead of, let's say, 170 points, I'd say that they can sit back quite comfortably and just proceed to hold. All the holy hell. All the points that you could be investing in a CV are probably better invested in units such as line infantry. Something that can keep all of these red hordes at bay. Look at that. Mad Max fielding a ton of infantry here. And for now, they're not actually moving up, but that could change at any moment. Harrier GR3 doing another rocket pod run. I'm sure it actually got a bit of damage in. I think it may have been able to do a bit of damage against the Strop. Just the sheer amount of infantry going to die here is ridiculous. But then again, there's no real better way to do it. Hachiki are sitting back here, but there's not too much that they can do. Peace Pheasant comes in. Oh, don't bomb, sniper fire. Ooh, that was close. That may have been able to hurt the Panzerjägers that were inside this structure. Let's hope so. Red seems to be completely fed up with the constant airstrikes. He's bringing in a quad stack of ROMs, which is a bit of bit of an overkill situation. I'd say that the better option would be to get 2 ROMs over there and 2 over there, so that if any Blue 4 aircraft flies over, it veers off to the right, it gets killed off, veers over to the left, it gets killed off. Because a quad stack means that you're susceptible to artillery fire. And with 1 minute left on the clock, Red 4 seems to be pushing everything they have towards Blue, including their museum tanks, the T-34-85. Which, let's face it, is not really going to be doing that much damage. Fusiliers trying to push up and actually made it quite far. Sniper fire is also getting support from Mirak over on the right, who has captured a Kolos, meaning that there's not too much going on here in the sense of command units or infantry. And he just captured another one. The Mi-8 TVs probably won't be able to do that much damage, and Glebs decides to surrender at the last moment. Red seems to be very, very bent on killing off their own resupply vehicles, as Blue just continues to hammer the hell out of these helicopters. No more helos there. These are a bit far away. Unfortunately, Martijn's flanking attack did not quite work out, although he might be able to get a CV in there. And by such... Oh, look at that. That's a Strop. I was thinking that might be a CV, but that's a Strop. By doing so, might be able to neutralize this, giving Blue 4 a +2 lead total. I gotta say, this was one hard-fought battle. Constantly going back and forth in Charlie. Very, very heavily fought over in Fox, and really, really a pleasure to watch and to comment on. So, Samurai Devil, kills 2,400, losses 3,500. Martijntje, losses 3,000 versus 2,300. Sniper fire made positive, Mirak also made positive. Now, I'm not sure what Samurai could have done different. Maybe try to cycle the infantry that he has a bit faster, to make sure that you have your infantry that's wounded back at the back, at the back lines, and resupply those. Keep your healthy infantry at the front line. Maybe, but it is going to be an infantry grinder. It's just what happens. Mad Max was one of the guys right down the middle. Did almost make positive. Same for Royal Arms. You can see that while Blue 4 lost, actually I thought they would have lost more infantry. But Red lost slightly more infantry, and basically they played pretty equal. So the deployment from Blue, the decision to go for Foxtrot, that's what got them all the conquest points, and that's what got them all of the terrain and the eventual total victory. So, I hope you enjoyed that game. Thanks Samurai for sending it in. Samurai also has his own channel, so be sure to check that out. It's in the description down below. If you have any replays of your own that you want to send in, which are as intense as this one, then be sure to do so. Link is in the description down below, so you can have it sent in and possibly have it featured on the channel. But beware, I receive quite a lot of these, so there's no guarantee that your replay is going to get featured. Anyway, with that, end of the video, so thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon for the next video.